the Honorable Pius Hajide to give us an opening prayer.
Thank you very much. We pray in the name of the Lord, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Almighty and ever-living God, we thank you for a wonderful day. We thank you for the lives of the people of this country, the life of His Excellency, the President, and His Vice President, and the Cabinet. We thank you for the lives of all those who are involved in managing our natural resources, our lands, our forestry, and all our media friends, the people of Ghana. We thank you for travel mercies. As we gather, we invite you to take absolute control and navigate us through to a successful end. In Jesus' name we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Permit us this morning, we have quite a list of dignitaries that we need to introduce and recognize right here in our midst. We have Collins Osei Kusi, Godwin Ama, Emmanuel Irinchi, Entry, Festus Adumaku Kusi, E.K. Ajimai, Ben Ousu Achiao, Robert Tampuari, Kojo Yeboah, Elizabeth Mauto, Eric Adai, Dr. Lumo Mauli, the CEO, Water Resource Commission, Paulo Dalla Stella.
Security authorities are not well resourced to meet their obligations. So soon after the president was sworn into office in January 2017, he expressed his commitment to protect the land, our forests, and water bodies for the present and future generations. As part of the president's commitment to curb and sanitize illegal mining, he established the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining in March 2017 to coordinate and salvage the ongoing menace. The members of this committee are drawn from the ministries, as I mentioned earlier on: environment, lands and natural resources, local government and rural development, interior, defense, information, chieftaincy and religious affairs, regional reorganization and development, monitoring and evaluation, and water and sanitation. Mr. Charles Bisu, a presidential staffer, was appointed secretary to the committee. The committee is supported by the Minister for National Security, the National Security Coordinator, and the Chief of Staff herself. A ban was put in place on 1st April 2017 to suspend artisanal mining throughout the country for a period of 6 months, and has further been extended till now. To enforce the ban, Operation Vanguard, made up of 400 men from the Army and Police Service, was launched in July 2017, precisely on the 31st of July 2017, and deployed to the mining areas to monitor and effect the ban. Mostly in the eastern region, the Shanti, western, and central regions. Then we started training of small-scale miners at the University for Mine Studies in Takwa, and so far we've trained about 3,000 small-scale miners, all at the expense of the government. His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic and our Commander-in-Chief, indicated on the 7th of July 2018 in Kuforidia that he had instructed the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining to establish a monitoring regime that will ensure that when the ban is lifted, miners will not repeat the mistakes of the past and pollute the environment. We can imagine that this decision to lift the ban will elicit varied responses from Ghanaians. There will be many who will say that the water bodies are still polluted, and so the ban must be maintained. On the other hand, there will be those who will argue that hundreds, if not millions of Ghanaians whose incomes are related to small-scale mining are under extreme financial pressure and can no longer cope with a sustained ban. Small-scale mining has gone on in our country for centuries. Our grandparents employed methods that did not pollute the environment. It is now up to us to refine our methods of operation that will preserve the integrity of the environment and our biodiversity. The pollution of the soil and water bodies and the destruction of the farmlands are environmental problems, not so mining. And so we have enough environmental laws that will help us maintain the integrity of our environment. The regulatory agencies, that is Minerals Commission, Environmental Protection Agency, Water Resources Commission, and the Forestry Commissions have not been adequately resourced to carry out their regulatory functions. Measures have been devised that include regular visits to mining concessions, use of remote sensing and satellite imagery and drones, and more importantly, integration of the activities of these regulatory agencies through a computer application we call GalamStop. So the Minerals Commission, EPA, Water Resources Commission, Forestry Commission, our MMDCs will be integrated through this software application. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, it will take Ghanaians of goodwill to continue to buy into the President's vision and goal of not only preserving our rich biodiversity for present and future generations, but preventing disease and death of the vulnerable in our mining communities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, from the very beginning, His Excellency the President made it clear to the committee that he had no illusions about the complexity and seriousness of the problem at hand. A lot of damage had been done to the environment, but he was of the conviction that if we did our work well, solutions will emerge that will be beneficial to other sectors of the economy. And by and large, we are on the path to achieving that. We now have enhanced water and soil management regime. We are now mainstreaming photogrammetry, satellite imaging, and drone application in the way we do things. We now have software application that is linking our regulatory agencies. And these are things that have emerged out of this complex fight against illegality. I wish to thank the foreign entities for their tremendous support in the fight against illegality in the mining sector. One, the Council of State for their advice, admonitions, and constructive criticism. The President and members of the National House of Chiefs for their advice and support. The Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining that continues to spearhead education of the general public through several media outlets. I also want to thank the Vice Chancellor, faculty, and entire management of the University of Mines Studies in Takwa for their immense contribution in the training of small-scale miners, training of drone pilots, and the vetting of mining concessions. I also want to thank Operation Vanguard. Despite constant maligning and temptation and the challenging terrain they have to traverse on a regular basis, they have given Ghanaians enough evidence to appreciate the true nature of Galamsey. I also want to thank the Small Scale Miners Association for their compliance and cooperation. I also want to thank many Ghanaians who sent in letters and memoranda, and also to make telephone calls to provide inputs into the fight against galamsey. Finally, I want to say something. I wish to end this segment. After this, we'll see a PowerPoint presentation on the roadmap itself. I wish to end this segment by reminding all of us that the Almighty God himself hates those who pollute and destroy the earth. Environmental pollution is a sin God takes seriously. It is recorded in chapter 11, verse 18 of the book of Revelations in the Bible as follows. I quote, "The nations were angry, and your wrath has come. The time has come for judging the dead and for rewarding your servants, the prophets, and your people who revere your name, both great and small, and destroying those who destroy the earth." Unquote. That is the Bible. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the first session. From here, we are going to show you the roadmap in pictures so that we can all appreciate what His Excellency the President has done so far. Thank you. Sit and then here. Should we get that? No, you can sit from here. Where is he? No, what I'm saying is, who can who's going to change them? No, they are doing it. Next slide, please. So this will be the presentation outline. Our key achievements will assess the objectives of the ban, our challenges, the way forward, and the next. As we all know, the Media Coalition did a very good job, and our Minister for Chieftaincy Affairs also toured the whole nation and interacted with chiefs and opinion leaders. Next slide, please. So these are some of the pictures that we captured from the regions, showing the Minister for Chieftaincy Affairs and some members of the committee interacting with chiefs across the country. Next slide, please. Again, we have trained 3,000 small-scale miners at Takwa in sustainable mining. So we hope that with the training that they've had, they will help us prevent the mistakes of the past. And all of them testify that it has been a very good training and they benefited from it. Next one. Then we had Operation Vanguard. I believe that Operation Vanguard has done a very good job. There are reports that some were doing things that may not be optimal, but by and large, we believe that they've helped us a lot, and we'll continue to engage them as we go along. Next one. So this is what has happened. As of now, Operation Vanguard has arrested about 1,400 illegal miners, and only 10% of these have been prosecuted. We've seized about 650 excavators. Now it's up to about 700 excavators, and immobilized some machinery. Seized 84 cars, motorbikes, dredging equipment, close to 6,000 of them, and ammunition. You know, in some areas, the people are armed. In the Upper West, you know, there's a serious problem over there, which we will solve. Ammunition. Next slide. So, these are the scenes from the regions. And when I see these pictures, I become disturbed. This is destruction of our biodiversity. Next one. And look at the picture on the upper left. I mean, there's complete destruction of our water bodies. And when I see that Ghanaians collude with foreigners who may not have anything to do with our future, all they want is money, and then they destroy our environment and go away, I become very disturbed. So we should all come together, people of goodwill, so that these things will not happen again. Next slide. These are pictures of destruction going on in the country, and our president is not happy at all. Next slide. And the defense minister and Mr. Bisiu flew over an area in the western region. This is where our gallant soldier was killed. And look at the devastation that has happened over there. This should not happen again. Next slide. Operation Vanguard has been very effective, but as I said, we need Ghanaians of goodwill to help us. When you go to certain mining areas in Wasa area and many parts of the western and central regions, some foreigners have set camp in the villages, and they are selling things like some provisions, including vegetables. And the villagers know that apart from the things that they are selling, they are renting out excavators and heavy mining machines. And if we don't take any action, these things will go on, and our environment will be destroyed. Next slide. And so, to strengthen the regulatory agencies, we have set up mining districts. As of now, there are 60 mining districts, and we have set up district committee against illegal mining that is headed by the DCE on the spot. 3 new districts will be opened in the northern region and sub-offices. That will bring the total of the district offices to about 72 across the country. And we hope that when we bring the activities of our fight into the communities, then we'll be successful. And so we count on our DCEs, municipal chief executives, and the traditional authorities who are members of these committees to help us in the fight against illegal mining. Next one. Also, as part of this exercise, Ghana has ratified the Minamata Convention. And as you know, Minamata is a little town in Japan. And for some years, people were dying of disease that they could not determine the cause. But eventually, after some years of research, it was determined that mercury was the cause of the death in Minamata. That is the name of the convention that seeks to ban the use of mercury in mining. We have signed on to it, and UNIDO, UNDP are going to help us assess some funds so that we can monitor the level of mercury poisoning, not only in the water bodies, but in the soil and in human beings who live in these communities. We hope that this project will start pretty soon. We have also met the National Small Scale Miners Association, and I must say that they've been very compliant. We don't have any issues with them. They've been very cooperative, and sometimes their executive members are attacked by the rank and file of the men because they cooperate with us. They think they've collected money from us. No, these are honorable men and women who love their country and they want to sanitize their trade. We thank them for their cooperation. I mentioned Galamstop. This is a software that we have developed, very solid, and I hope that one of us will come and demonstrate how it works. So we are going to link all the agencies, Forestry Commission, Water Resources Commission, EPA, DVLA, and even the International Labour Organization. When they saw what we are doing with the Galamstop, they hook onto it because they want to prevent children and minors engaging in small-scale mining. So we are very happy that this is attracting international attention so that the world will know that our president is serious with the fight against Galamsey, and that we are not going to allow people, including miners, to engage in illegal mining. Next one. This is a picture of our computer tablet, and we have enough to distribute to the Minerals Commission, all members of the Inter-Ministerial Committee, the regional ministers, and members who are at the forefront in the fight against Galamsey. This will give you a picture of what is happening on the concessions. And it's very important indeed. Next one. So, for example, in this picture, you will see a gentleman who owns a concession. 3 of them, their names are there. You have their TIN, that is tax identification numbers, their addresses, their biodata, and so on. And this will be incorporated into a card, an ID card. Next one. So with this information, we'll know exactly where the concession is, their GPS coordinates, the Ghana Post address, and whether they have licenses, whether the license has expired, and so on. It will also help the miners themselves, because we know that according to law, mining licenses should not take more than 90 days to acquire. And in the past, it took up to 5 years. That is why some of the miners got involved in illegal activities. With this software, we are going to follow the life cycle of the licensing regime so that everybody will know who has applied for a license and the stage at which the process is. And then we'll be able to shepherd the miners and the regulatory authorities through this exercise, that everything will be transparent. Next one. And so with this software also, we'll be able to determine the type of machinery that is being used on the mining concession. This is very important so that we can block equipment that we don't want to see. Next one. So what has been some of our achievements? Through the Galamsey, as I'm saying, we are able to monitor the life cycle of the mining licenses and work with our stakeholders. We are now working closely with the Ghana Water Resources Commission in the area of water quality assessment. And government is also resourcing the agencies, especially the Minerals Commission, so that they'll be able to do their work well. Next slide. And so we have acquired these vehicles for the Minerals Commission, nicely branded Galamstop. And they will get about 26 of these. 12 will come this week. They'll get them next week. The rest will come within a month. And the Ministry of Local Government will get 2 of these vehicles so that they can carry out their alternative livelihood activities effectively. And I think that we have to thank the President all the time for his initiative and for his drive. Next slide. As of now, although the ban has not been lifted yet, and I promise you it will be lifted, when exactly we'll all discuss it later on. I can say that the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has started its alternative livelihood program. And we have selected 15 districts in 5 regions. And now people have applied to undergo the training. We've trained the trainers, trainer of trainers, trained them already. We've vetted the applicants, and they started their training on the 20th of July this year. Next slide. These are some of the things that they are doing: masonry, carpentry, and many other activities. There you see our dear Minister Haji Alima Mahama in the upper left picture. Yes, as I said, we are also using drones to monitor activities. And if we look at the big picture there, it saddens me. You know, the road should have been at least 50 meters from the edge of the water. But because of our illegal mining activities, We have eroded the soil to the extent that even the high-tension wires, cables, are hanging. And it's only a matter of time that we'll have problems, even with power. So this thing should not happen again. We don't want a situation where another ban will be instituted in the future. And the president doesn't want that, and I'm sure the small-scale miners themselves don't want that. Next slide. This is a picture we took from Ahafo, Kenyasi. You see those pockets, the holes there. These are pits into which the miners descend and bring out their gravels for processing. This picture can be seen in many parts of the country, including the Upper West, the Wa district. And we need to work on that. Next slide. So at this point, we have to assess the objective of the ban. Have we been able to stop illegal mining? Not completely. It's going on. But we don't think that we'll be able to stamp it out 100% before we lift the ban. But by and large, we have succeeded. There are fewer people working on the land, doing alluvial mining than before. And the problem we have now is not with the small-scale miners, but with some officials who are supposed to know better, but are doing the wrong thing. Also, because of the effectiveness of the Operation Vanguard and the compliance of the small-scale miners, there are fewer people working on land. That is why most of them are being sponsored to work on the rivers, because they know that we have some deficiencies policing the rivers. And therefore, you see more activities on the water bodies. That is why, from hence, we are going to intensify our efforts on the water bodies so that we get rid of those who want to pollute our water bodies. And sadly, we know that a lot of the small-scale miners have migrated to other West African countries. And recently, there were reports that a lot of Ghanaians were being seen in Liberia doing galamsey. We are not happy about that, but we are happy that you are not disturbing us. Have we been able to stop forest deforestation? Not quite. But I think with the help of the Forestry Commission and many others, we will be able to stop it and intensify our afforestation and reforestation efforts. Land degradation is on the decrease, and when we get back to work, I know the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources are doing a lot of work. They have seedlings they want to take onto the field to do the afforestation and reforestation. I've been able to ban foreigners in small-scale mining industry. To some extent, yes, but it has to be 100% done, and this we will do. Next slide. What are our challenges? Lack of commitment in certain areas. We know that certain communities depend upon small-scale mining for about 80% of their IGF. I'm talking about district assemblies. And so you can see the apprehension, the reluctance. But we need to do something more so that everybody complies with the present directives. Lack of law enforcement, and we have to intensify our efforts in this area as well. And I'm told that Operation Vanguard will be beefed up so that we'll be able to cover the whole country and do our work well. And some citizens have not been committed to the fight against galamsey for obvious reasons. So as we go along, as we find work for people to do, the compliance will be increased. Next slide. So the way forward. The Ministry of Information is putting up a documentary that will show what has happened so far and the way forward and what we expect every Ghanaian to do to help the president stamp out this illegality from our country. The documentary will feature chiefs, traditional leaders, DCEs, the small-scale miners themselves, members of my committee, and it will highlight the role of government, stakeholders, the communities, and all of us in preserving our biodiversity. Next slide. And government will continue to strengthen the stakeholders, and we are also going to monitor the small-scale miners. It's not that the ban will be lifted and we all go to sleep. No, the monitoring will be intrusive and extensive so that we all make sure that we don't go back to our bad old ways. Next slide. So what about the state of the water? I mentioned that we still have problems, but we are monitoring the water bodies. And this slide shows you what has been done so far. Before the ban, in February 2017, we measured the turbidity in the Brim River at Akemodan, and that was over 3,822. And this should be less than 25. So we can see that the water bodies were polluted. If we look at the first column, Osino, very bad, Chifupraso, Dukwanofe, Adiamra, in the Shanti region, it was 4,150. Now it is 11. So that some villages have started, the people have started drinking the water. I was there to see it myself. And Dadieso, Bia River, is down to about 19. It's still high in some areas, but it shows you the trend. And we are getting cooperation assistance from some of the embassies and some of the international organizations to monitor the water bodies closely so that we are able to do well. See, these things that we are doing are linked to other sectors of the economy. For example, we have problems with plastic pollution. And I wish I could ban plastics in Ghana, but it's difficult. If we are polluting the water so that villagers have no access to river water and they are relying on sachet water to drink and to prepare food for their children, then it would be unfair for us to ban sachet water or plastic sachet. And so as we improve on these activities, it will give us the strength and the vim to do other things as well, including managing our plastic pollution. Next slide. So as you can see, this is a picture that was taken at Dadieso in February 2015. In July, even before Operation Vanguard was very effective, as a result of the media campaign launched by the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, the water improved a lot, as you can see from these two pictures. Next slide. And this is the Pra River at Chifupraso in February 2017, and after the campaign, it cleared a little bit in July 2017. One can see that it's a little better. We want to improve on our performance so that we can mine and get our money and also preserve our water bodies, our forests, our farmlands, and our biodiversity in general. Next slide. So what are we going to do? His Excellency the President introduced the NAPCO program. And as part of this program, we have gotten some staff from NAPCO who have been trained as drone pilots. As at now, we have trained 170 of them, and we have also trained 144 Galam stop operators and core handlers. We are going to have a call center in our office that will operate 24/7, I'm told. 10 core handlers to receive information from across the country in our fight against galamsey. Next one. So these drone pilots, there are 144 of them that have been trained for the district committees. So every district committee where mining is taking place will have drone pilots. We've bought the drones, they are ready to be used. We have also acquired 16 for the Regional Coordinating Council. That will be under the direct control of the regional ministers. And the headquarters will have 10 drones. Operation Vanguard will have access to 18 drones and 15 drones for the Minerals Commission. So we are ready. The training was started on the 3rd of July and is completed already. So the drone pilots are ready, the drones are there, and we are ready to move on. Next slide. These are pictures of some of the drones that we've acquired. The Phantom 4, that will be a lot of them for day activities. The one in the middle has thermal sensors that will allow us to deploy them in the night. No, let me say. That will help us to deploy the drones at night. Because we had the situation where Operation Vanguard could not operate in the night because they did not have night vision equipment and so on. Now, we are going to have these drones. We have them already. That will help us to monitor things at night. Then the one on the right is a hybrid. That's a more powerful drone that can stay in the air for about 2 hours and monitor the things that we want to monitor. We, with the help of the U.S. Embassy and the Desert Research Institute, we may also get another type of drone, another type of sensors with the LIDAR sensors. This night vision works. The normal one have problems. When we have cloud cover, you cannot see through the cloud. But when we have this LIDAR that will employ pulse laser, we'll be able to see day and night and through every cloud. So you cannot hide. We'll catch you. Next slide. And then we'll have a room in our office with these monitors. And these monitors will serve as our imaging and drone tracking center. So we'll be able to monitor 4 drones at a time, live. If a drone is deployed in Brahafo or in Sechirahiman or Wasekropon, we'll be able to see the things that the drones are seeing live. We'll be monitored here in Accra. So these are some of the things that we are doing to help ourselves, so we all comply with the law. Next slide. So, as I've said already, we have trained 3,000 small-scale miners. But apart from them, these are the registered miners. Apart from them, we have what we call galamseyers, people who don't have licenses and they go anywhere and start digging. And they cause a lot of harm. And so we are also going to train these people, get some concession for them, put them together to form community mining cooperatives. And we expect them to be registered with the small-scale miners so that every miner in Ghana will be part of the Small-Scale Miners Association. And we are talking to some of the mining companies to seed some of the concessions that they are not using so we can help the people who want to go into mining. I want to repeat, the president is not against mining. He wants to make it better for Ghanaians to go into it, do it well, and get their money. But don't collude with foreigners to destroy our farmlands, our soil, our forests, and our biodiversity. Next slide. Again, there's something that we are going to do. We are going to provide every mining concession with an ID card. This ID will contain a lot of information. One, the Minerals Commission PIN number, the EPA PIN number, the name of the concession owner, its location, geographical location, who owns it, whether they have licenses, whether the license is valid or not. So there will be a barcode on that card, which someone can have. But this card will also be printed on the signboard that will be placed on the concession, so that if the one possessing the card is not there, you can use your mobile phone to scan it and get all the information that you want. So this will help us see and examine those who are genuine miners and who are not. And we are not doing this, we are not imposing this on everybody, but we are doing, at every stage, we are talking to the Small Scale Miners Association, and they are helping us do this work. Next slide. So this is how the ID card will look like. Kofi Mante Enterprise, that is me, from the Eastern Region, Atiwa, and GP code is there, and the card ID number is also there. Next slide. So the conditions, this is very important. This is the last one, a very important slide. So what are we going to do now? One, we are going to direct that all excavators be brought to designated areas in all the regions, and the regional ministers will make sure that this is done. The reason we want to do that is that we want to give every excavator an electronic tracking device. When that is done, then they can go back and do. So we want to know the number of excavators that we have in this country. Some say 5,000, others say 7,000, we don't know. But we want to know where they are and what they are doing, so we'll be able to track them. Every excavator will be moved to a particular area and to receive an electronic tracking device. This announcement will be made on the 20th of this month, next week, where either the Minister for Information or the regional ministers will tell all of us the exact locations where this excavator will be guarded. And then the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources will also give a list of companies that are flouting our laws. There are certain so-called large-scale mining companies, but they are not. They have large-scale concessions, but they are using small-scale methods to mine. And they are flouting a lot of our laws. And the minister will give directives as to what they are supposed to do. And we also want to stop what we call bulk sampling. The minister will also give us more details next week. Also, we are going to withdraw all military and paramilitary forces from the ground, and Operation Vanguard will be the only force that will be in the mining concessions. Because you don't want a situation where some private person will go and hire somebody to provide security for a company and come into conflict with Operation Vanguard. So we want a situation where Operation Vanguard will maintain sanity in all the mining concessions. We will tour all the communities to make sure that these directives are going on well. And we'll establish the quality of water bodies. This is being done by the Water Resource Commission, and it will be done 3 or 4 times a year to make sure that we are on track. And then the ban will be lifted. And the names of all the companies that have been vetted will also be published in the newspapers so that we all see it. Now, somebody will ask me, when exactly are we going to lift the ban? I cannot say it now, but I know that His Excellency the President will want small-scale miners to spend the Christmas very well. That one I can say. But it will all depend upon how we go on with this roadmap. It can be much earlier than we anticipate, or it can go forward maybe a week or 2. But one thing I can say is that the President wants you to earn some money and enjoy your Christmas. Thank you. God bless you. You see, what I've outlined may not be perfect, and we are open for discussions. But there's one thing that we want to do. When the ban is lifted, and we have some professors from TAQUA, members of the vetting committee, they're all here. Because of the ban, some licenses have expired. So the Minister for Lands or the Ministers Commission will make sure that these licenses are extended so that to lessen the burden on small-scale miners. Also, we are thinking about maybe writing to your banks so that if we have some loans that are overdue, they can reschedule your loans for you, and then we can pay in peace. The vetting, there will be an announcement next week on the 20th that will direct the small-scale miners where they are to present their documents. And the vetting itself will start on the 3rd of September. If it goes very well, then we will know when the ban, exactly when the ban will be lifted. We reckon with starting activities from the 8th, that was last week, but because of certain activities, we couldn't. So that is why I'm saying that I cannot tell you exactly when the ban will be lifted, but it will be lifted so that you spend a good Christmas. Thank you. And cleaning the water bodies. Are you going to help us pay for it or? No. It's going to cost a lot of money. So we are here to discuss. Please, you asked a question, so if you want to get the answer, then let me have your attention. We are here to outline the roadmap. And if you know the MMIP, I don't know whether I've read the document well. The roadmap covers a lot of what is in the MMIP. And I don't think we should quarrel about that. We are here to discuss the roadmap and how to lift the ban so that people can go and do their work and get their money. The licenses. The first thing I want to say is that there's going to be vetting of these licenses. How do you know we have a valid license? You can't, it may be so. That is why we have set up 3 teams. Each team has 6 members, headed by a professor from the mining department, EPA, Minerals Commission, a chief in the locality, and so on. They are going to look at these licenses, and if they are valid, you go back to do your work. We just want to make sure that those who claim that their licenses are valid are indeed saying the truth. So we don't have any problem with that. Then the excavators. See, the excavators are not only meant for mining. Excavators are meant for road construction and other things. So we want to tag those that are going into mining. We don't want somebody to bring an excavator ostensibly for road construction, and then after 2 weeks, it goes into mining. That is why we are undertaking that exercise. And you said that the Minerals Commission is not well resourced. I started by saying that that might have been the case in the past, but now they have been adequately resourced to carry out their mandate. One, they did not have vehicles. Now the government is providing them with vehicles. They were not enough. Now we have established new mining districts in every part of the country, so they are going to employ staff to man these districts. Apart from that, Minerals Commission is going to employ about 540 inspectors, apart from their normal staff, who will be involved in monitoring these mining areas. So a lot has been done, as I indicated. And then prosecution, that's the job of the Attorney General, and we are working on that it is done well. You know, Ghana is a democracy. We can't just catch somebody and go in prison, must go through the process. But we wish that there will be special courts for mining offenses and that the prosecution will be carried out expeditiously. I think I've answered all the 5 questions.
Heritage FM, any question? Presentation Plus, Accra FM, Solid FM, Free Press.
About the arrest and the people that we have arrested and the breakdown, we don't have the breakdown as to the percentage of foreigners or if the person is light-skinned, it's easy to know, but they are foreigners from all sorts of countries, just as our people are in Liberia and elsewhere doing Galamsey. You can imagine that we have people from neighboring countries, sometimes as far as DR Congo. We have some of them here. So we cannot give you that breakdown. And you wanted to know whether there are some traditional rulers and other Ghanaians involved in this. Yes, there are Ghanaians. Ghanaians are involved, and Ghanaians and politicians. Yes. And yes. But you are not barring politicians or chiefs from doing small-scale mining. The only thing is that they should not do illegal mining. That is the important thing. We don't want illegality.
The distinction.
Pardon me?
The distinction between the small-scale and then the illegality.
Oh, but I think I defined what illegality is. One, mining in the water body, mining on the banks of the river, use of dangerous chemicals, engagement of foreigners in small-scale mining. So if a chief engages somebody from Far East or somewhere to engage in small-scale mining, that is illegal. The chief himself may not be involved, but getting others doing it in proxy for you is not allowed.
So the politician is allowed to engage in small-scale mining?
I'm sorry, but we can't do it this way. He has to finish the questions he took, and then if you have extra questions, you can come up and then take it. But we cannot continue this way. Thank you.
Oh, I thought someone asked, what about journalists? Are they involved? Everybody's in there. And then the cost. How much money have we spent on this, in this exercise? It's quite a lot. Because if you imagine keeping 400 troops in the field for 2 years, Operation Vanguard, that's quite a lot of money. But we are very conscious of what we are doing, and we don't spend money unnecessarily. We are saving. The Ghanaians also are helping in maintaining Vanguard and acquiring this equipment. But let me say one thing. We are careful to spend our money judiciously in our purchasing. For example, when we wanted to purchase the drones, we had an offer from a company with local representation in Ghana, and they quoted $8 million. But we had to fish out and send people outside, and we got the same quantity, the same type of drones for less than $1.5 million. So we saved at least $5 million or $6 million. So that's how the things that we do to make sure that we don't make profit out of the suffering of people, because we don't have money and we have to use the little that we have judiciously. And our president is very conscious of that. And then CTFM wanted to know about the role of MMDCs in this. You see, when you condone illegality, if you're a DCE, you may not be involved yourself. But if you sit down for illegality occurring in your district, you, like we say, we are paying to feel say, Edusika, Jananka, no one can hear. You're paying Lanka for also count. So, what I'm saying to our foreign friends is that if you are an elder, that's a Ghanaian proverb. If you are an elder at home and they use your knife to skin those who eat snakes, they use your knife to skin a snake and cut it for food, and you don't say anything. When they are looking for those who ate the snake, you'll be counted as a snake eater. So that is it. So the DCE may not be involved himself, but if for one reason or the other, he doesn't check illegality in his district, then you'll be held responsible, because after all, you are the president in the district. The tracking of the excavators, whether it will involve the big mining companies, for now, no. We are not going to go there now. But if we get any impression, because see, they are also being monitored by EPA and Minerals Commission. If a mining company, no matter how big you are, if you get involved in illegality, will come there and do what you are supposed to do. And it happened recently in one of the big mining companies, where the Minister for Lands had to take certain actions. The punishment for, is there any punishment for officers? Yes. If an officer gets involved in things that he's not supposed to do, certainly will take action. And action has been taken against certain officers across board, even in Operation Vanguard. MMIP is important, and as we say, it will be incorporated into the small-scale mining sector. And the miners themselves are aware. We don't do anything without their attention. We may not see the approval all the time, but they'll be informed about what we have to do. If they have any inputs, any concerns, they will tell us. But by and large, they are aware of everything that we are doing. Alternative livelihood, that's the beginning. We talk about cost. So we have to be careful the way we spend money, know that we get the right people for the right type of training, and then, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, you can start. I'll say
No,
something.
and so let Haja please come and help me. No, yeah. Haja will help me with the alternative livelihood because she's the big lady involved in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you. Just before I respond to the question, the chairman graciously quoted from the Bible. And I will also, as a Muslim, say that in the Quran too, we are entreated to treat our earth very, very well. In fact, some of the cases that the Quran says a human being visits upon him or herself is the way we treat the earth, the way we treat our fields, the way we treat the soils and all that, even under the trees, and where we pollute waters and where we go for toilet. That's all those are part of the cases that we'll get. And we also believe that when you plant trees, you get the rewards here on earth and hereafter in heaven. You continue to get the rewards. And we all know traditional people too, how we see the earth as source of life. So I think in all ranges of religions and all ranges of activities, we are supposed to revere the earth. Now to my question. Yes, we've worked in 5 regions. We are in 5 regions, all the areas that we've targeted to work on stopping illegal mining. So 5 regions, started with 15, but now with the creation of the new district, so now 18 districts. We did assessments and with the whole communities, all the different opinion leaders, everybody involved. And we identified 5,000 youth who wanted to be trained. Out of the 5,000, we started with 500. And the 500, they are engaged in different training in the technical TVET institutions under community development. So right now they are in about 11. They are in 11 of these institutes. So maybe I'll just mention them. The journalists, when you happen to be in those areas, you can visit the community development, vocational and technical training institutes and see them for yourself. These are Agona, Kwamo. Ashanti region, we have Agona, Kwamo, and Bekwai. In Western region, Takrady and Axim. In Central region, Pamfokrom, Suhum, Chibi, Pong, and no, that's in Eastern region, Suhum, Chibi, Pong, and then in Bro and Hafo region, we have Sotre, Kintampo, and Sunyani. So they are in these 5 places, and they are learning various trades. Construction, building construction, as you saw in the pictures, painting, carpentry, and dressmaking, confectioners, and different trades that they have identified that they are interested in. So when you go to those particular institutions that I've mentioned, you can go and see what they are doing and interact with them. I think that's it. Thank you. Yes, we are doing 500, but we've put in place 500 and we'll take another 500. And they will be there for 3 months, and another set will come. And as we get more resources, we'll continue with the training.
And flush out. I mean, that was not our target. 100%, we can't achieve that. But we are working on it. And, you know, if we send the army or the police with guns to the water bodies, to the forest, and they started shooting people, maybe we have done it by now, but that's not the essence. We want to protect our citizens, educate ourselves, so that we don't do the wrong things. And that is why it is very difficult to achieve 100% of anything. But we are working towards achieving 100%. And then your colleague from GH1 also talked about attitudinal change. Yes, attitudes are, you know, in life, that is one thing that is difficult to change. It's not about education. A teacher can instruct you, give you education, give you knowledge, impart knowledge to you. But attitude is not taught, it's learned. So it is up to us to know what the good thing is, and then we change our attitude. I cannot change anybody's attitude. I can give information, you learn from me or from things I experience, and then know that it is a bad thing for our nation to destroy our environment. And then you learn. So the committee will find it very difficult to change anybody's attitude. That is why we are giving training in the form of skills, sustainable mining. We are talking to people one-on-one. We are employing technology to monitor what you are doing. But when it comes to attitude, then it's up to the individual Ghanaian of goodwill to change the attitude. Punitive measures, I think we have discussed those things. Drones, if somebody wants to shoot down a drone, we'll know where the drone went down, and we'll know the owner of that concession. And so that person will buy us 10 drones to replace the one he shot down. I think that was the question, isn't it? Yes. No, I tried to embellish a little bit, but what I'm trying to say is that if you shoot down a drone, we will know the coordinates where the drone went down, and we'll be able to apprehend the one who shot the drone. And our friend from CNC TV said there was nothing much in the roadmap. Well, that's why I can't help it. I think that we've given enough information, and if we don't appreciate that there's much in it, then maybe we'll have to read the roadmap again. And then you said the SDG is there, and we have committed to reclaim the land. There's nothing in the SDG that says we should reclaim land or reforest by the year 2020. We are taking measures to make there are certain measures that we are supposed to take, and it doesn't include automatic reclamation of land before the year 2030. The judicial system, I think we have answered that already. And compensation to those who were doing their work legally, where there will be no compensation. All we know was that there was something bad going on, and everybody had to suffer, including government. We are spending so much on this exercise. So, in a way, we are all suffering. Shama, I know what is. I received a letter from the chief of Shama complaining about some people doing sand winning and mining in the estuary. And we are taking steps to do those things. But you see, the ban has to be lifted. So far, what have we done? It's Vanguard that is doing the work. But now that we are going to employ drones, we have empowered Minerals Commission, all the things that we are going to do in the future, I believe that they will help us achieve much more than we have achieved now. Also, we have a program to restore the river bodies. And there's a document that is there where the rivers, and I'm sure Engineer Sechi has seen that document, the rivers will be widened and they will be dredged to a depth of about at least 5-6 meters, so that they will be able to carry the volume of water that they are supposed to carry, and that will lessen flooding. And when that is done, the president will, at some point, may want to introduce river transport on the water bodies, so that when that is done, we'll be able to do things well. I think, and our brother was asking whether we should include the quarry and sand winning. Sand winning, if it's in the river, then it's part of our program. That is why in the Danon area, in the northern region, the Minister of Defense had to take certain action to stop sand winning in the water bodies to save our water treatment plant. Also, when it comes to the quarry, there are environmental laws that are being enforced. And I don't even want to stretch ourselves into that domain. The Minerals Commission, EPA, they are doing their work well as far as the quarries are concerned. We don't want to go there now. Atiwa Forest, yes, it's true, there are very powerful environmental groups, and I have received documents this much to review. And we are doing the review very well. We know that about 5-6 rivers take their origin from the Atiwa Forest, and we have to preserve those water bodies. But I also wish to entreat these environmental groups to also make sure that people in their communities who are doing illegal mining and polluting these rivers, same rivers, don't get away with this. I don't like a situation where they talk about something abstract, something that has not come, bauxite that has not started and may not even start there. But you leave and we don't talk much about the ongoing destruction of the same water bodies and the sources of the water. And I think I will urge the environmental groups to be active and help us in that area as well. So I think I've answered the questions. You raised your arm. What was it?
It's a device. They plant. So whenever you fly your drone, bring it down.
Never mind. Wherever it goes down, we will know what the coordinates where the drone went down, and then if this is your concession, we'll pay for it. Colleague from Statesman was talking about restoration of licenses for reclamation. You know, reclamation is an expensive exercise. And here we are, we give licenses for people to do reclamation, we don't pay them, and they are willing to do it. You know, there's a case of someone who bought a brand new excavator to go and do reclamation without any pay. So you can imagine whether it was reclamation or not. And so that is why the licenses were withdrawn. Because people go there in the guise of doing reclamation and then they do proper mining, which is not fair. And then our brother who said mining has been going on for a long time, that is true. Mining had been going on for centuries, even before the Portuguese arrived in this country. That is why this place was called Gold Coast. But you imagine what methods were they using? They left all the rivers intact. The forests were there for centuries. And we've come, and within 20 years, we still want to say it's a gold mining nation, so we should go ahead and pollute the water bodies, destroy the land, and get away with it. No, it can't happen. And as the MP said, we should all be patient and the ban will be lifted. But if it's lifted and you go back to the bad old ways, you will all suffer the consequences, because it will be, and that is why the president is saying that he will not sit down. He's not only a president over the people, he's in charge of everything on our soil, everything, even all the insects in the soil. The president is in charge, he has to protect them. Alternative livelihood, this is just the beginning. You were talking about the cost. And so as we get more resources, we'll step up those activities and then we'll spread to all the deprived communities. They'll be accommodated, yes. The gold, brother from the Gold Sellers Association. You see, this committee is not there to serve the functions of Minerals Commission, EPA, Forestry Commission, and so on. This is a committee that was set up to bring sanity into the situation. And so we are not going to draw up a 4-year plan to do anything. Whatever we are going to do will be to assist Minerals Commission, EPA, Water Resources Commission, and the other regulatory agencies to do their work well. And that is what the mandate that we have from the president. Ministry of Health is involved. We consult them, and also in some activities, the examination of miners, the waters, the fish from mercury poisoning and so on. Ministry of Health is involved in that exercise. Religious bodies are also involved. You know, the ministry is called Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. That is why the minister is gone out. He is both a bishop and a chief. So he interacts with the chiefs and also the religious bodies. Galam stop. The cost of Galam stop. I don't have it, but I know I can give it to you. If you are interested, come to the office. We'll give you all the details about the Galam stop. The cost of the hardware, the software, which may be linked to, we are waiting for the small-scale miners. They also have their own application, and we want to be hooked onto it so we can work together. Tracking on site. You can imagine that this will be a very big exercise. Can you imagine? We don't even know where all the sites are. And we think that there are about 5,000, 7,000 excavators. Can you imagine a few people trying to locate all these sites? If you want us to do that, then maybe the ban will be lifted in 2 years' time, because it will be very difficult to go to all these unknown sites, unless we get the information. But I think the easiest way is for the excavators to be tracked to the nearest district assembly or regional coordinating council. And who pays for it? Initially, there are two ways. We are not yet decided. Either the committee pays for it, or the owners of the excavators will pay for the tracking devices. And the mining offenses, those who are complicit, are we going to employ more officers? Yes, I mentioned that in the north we did not have mining districts, but now we are going to get 3 mining districts and 12 sub-offices. And that will make it a total of 72 committees across the nation. So I think that answers your question. And those who commit offenses will be sanctioned severely. And some of them have been sanctioned already. You can check from the CEO of the Minerals Commission, who is right here, and the acting executive director of EPA. He sanctions his officers. What is going to happen to the seized equipment? We are discussing it. I think most of them will be returned to their owners. They will have to pay maybe a fee, and those that have no owners will be put at the disposal of the district coordinating councils. Small-scale miners. The director for monitoring and evaluation asks about the help that you are going to give these small-scale miners. I think we are working closely together, and we promise to assist them with a few things, some logistics, and they know what I'm talking about. They want me, they know what we want to do, but they want me to make a public statement so that they can hold me to it. We will continue our conversation, and let's meet in the office, and then we'll put flesh on the bones. Madam Minister, I think I've answered the questions.
Thank you, Minister. At this point, I doubt anyone has any follow-up